Hello guys, welcome back to the Chelsea Godfather channel. It's your Chelsea Godfather reporting back to duty. Guys, let's talk about hopefully, our latest and newest player who should be added to the squad. And that's none other than JHON Duran, the Colombian striker who currently plays for Aston Villa. Obviously, let's be honest, a lot of us didn't really know much about JHON Duran as of this morning, apart from, I believe, was it the last game or the second to the last game of the season where Aston Villa played at home. I believe it was a 3-3 draw against Liverpool, and JHON Duran came off the bench and scored a couple goals. I don't know if he even had a hat trick. I think he had a couple goals. I know he scored at least 2 goals in that game, at least 2. Was it 2 or was it 3 goals? I think he had 2 goals in the game. But in any event, the main question is, how do we end up with JHON Duran? How did we end up going from Osimhen, Sesko, Julian Alvarez, then all the way down to JHON Duran? JHON Duran, guys, I mean, you all can't, honestly, hands up. I learned today how to properly spell his first name. I know a lot of us didn't know how to spell his first name. And that just goes to show that this is as unexpected as a signing, a Chelsea signing, as can be. I mean, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a player who is currently 20 years old, going on 21. He made 37 appearances last season for Aston Villa, 37, which isn't bad. 8 goals, 8 goals, only 8 goals from 37 games. Keep in mind that the whole idea is to improve upon Jackson, who is everybody's favorite whipping boy, and he had 17 goals last season. 17 goals, and we did not even play in Europe. Had we played in Europe, Jackson without a doubt would have scored over 20 goals last season, and we still want to improve upon Jackson. And so the solution is drumbeat JHON Duran. And so now, guys, y'all can see why a lot of the fan base, I won't say that they're not happy, but I'll say that everybody were kind of, scratching our heads and wondering, okay, what is happening and what is the plan? But I think, as we've learned from last season, because to a lesser extent, right? It's not quite the same analogy, but when you compare last season when we signed Cole Palmer from City for a transfer fee I believe it was 40 million plus 5 in add-ons, and I have a feeling that City has earned that 5 in add-ons, given the way Palmer performed last season. So that's a 45 million pound deal. When we signed the 45 million pound deal for Cole Palmer, who was a bench player at City, he was trapped in the City's bench, deep in their bench, third string winger, third string midfielder. He was behind Kevin De Bruyne, behind Phil Foden, behind Bernardo Silva, behind Doku. He's behind everybody. He wasn't going to play, and he had barely played. He only played like little cup games and games where the games were pretty much over. FA Cup, Community Shield, type games. I mean, that was, he wasn't going anywhere in terms of, career wise. He was moving at a snail pace. And so, in terms of his, resume, in terms of his experience, he didn't have anywhere near enough to justify a £45 million price tag. But that's how much Chelsea paid last year. And a lot of Chelsea fans cried like babies and said, why are we paying all this money for Cole, Palmer? Well, right? Right? Just shush it already. Guys, just shush it. Right now, you just have to shush it. And I guess what I'm trying to get at is that with regards to John Duran, he's not what we had envisioned in terms of the type of striker that we need to sign to take us to the next level. Right? There's really, if you just look in terms of what he's done in his career so far, and plus the fact that he's actually younger than Jackson, it doesn't quite fit the description. But I think, again, as we have learned from the Cole Palmer situation, sometimes you just have to calm down. Let's calm down and look at it a little bit critically. If we look at it a little bit from a critical point of view, then maybe we can see some sense in the possible signing, if not the likely signing, of John Duran. First of all, in terms of what he gives us in comparison to Jackson. In other words, what does he give us that Jackson does not give us? Number one, he has a powerful shot. He has a cannon. So, here's a striker. We've been begging for a striker that can find the back of the net from outside the box. And Jackson is not that guy. That's just the reality. Jackson is a guy who has brilliant runs. Brilliant. I mean, Jackson's movement, his pace, his ability to basically see space and run into space is actually one of Jackson's best aspects of his game. So he has brilliant runs, makes a lot of brilliant runs, which is why he tends to get into goal, scoring, positions a lot. It's just that his finishing is just subpar. But Jackson, in terms of taking shots from outside the box, no, that's like his weakness. So John Duran can give us that. Then the other thing to keep in mind in terms of John Duran's strength is his aerial ability. And you guys already know that Jackson is horrible in terms of his heading inability. It is an area of Jackson's game that requires a lot of work. And John Duran was actually ranked as one of the best in terms of winning headers. His aerial game is again, of course, it's a bit of a pinch of salt situation, given that he hasn't played anywhere as much as Jackson played last season. But based on the minutes, I believe he played about 500 or so minutes in the league last season. Based on his minutes, and if you look at the stats, you will see that John Duran is ranked in the upper like 95th percentile in terms of he was basically one of the best in terms of aerially winning headers in the box. Okay, and then the other thing that we hopefully get from John Duran is, hopefully, we don't know, is finishing. For me, for me, honestly, if you take away the long shots and take away the aerial ability, if he can give us improved finishing in the box, because we already know from an athletic point of view, John, Duran has all those tools. He's tall, he's big, he's fast, he's skilled, he's athletic, just as Jackson. So, but what we need is the finishing. If he can give us that finishing, it's going to be a massive improvement. And so, the only question mark, which again is why a lot of Chelsea fans are mourning and whining once again, is because of his transfer fee. And the quoted transfer fee so far somewhere in the region of £40 million. And I agree, that's too much money for what this player has or hasn't yet done in his career so far. Plus, he's still just 20 years old. I mean, for instance, Broya, our boy, he's basically around the same age of Broya, and Broya's quoted asking prices between 30 and 35 million. I feel like if we can get it, JHON Duran somewhere between that range, 30 to 35 million range, that will be a fair deal. But again, if it ends up being 40, that's just an extra 5 mil on top of what I deem as a reasonable range. So for me, I see it, hey guys, we're always going to need one more striker. And so therefore, there it is. There's no way we're going to go into this season with just one striker, with just Jackson. Broya has been basically sold. Jackson is the only striker, the only out-and-out striker that we have. Kunku can help out, but he's not a number 9. And so, we needed to buy one more number 9. And it so happens to be that JHON Duran is going to be that guy. Osimhen is not the guy for 3 reasons. You already know his price, his wages, injury. Sesko snubbed everybody, and decided to extend his contract with RB Leipzig. And then Julian Alvarez. I mean, that's a bit of a sort of I would say pipe dream. I mean, we just kind of, it's one of those things where you just hope it. You just hope is this a deal that can be done? But the reality is nobody knows. So you don't make plans based on a pipe dream, based on a hope. And so it is what it is. We're gonna have to rock and roll with JHON Duran. Guys, how do y'all feel? Leave your comments below. Share this video, like this video, subscribe to my channel. Take care. God bless y'all. Peace.